Okay. It's me, Rose, again, Rose Wild, and I'm back again for part 2 of the How to Overcome PMS video, because I was managing my puppies last time. It got a little bit busy, and I want to dive in a little bit deeper for you to give you some really juicy tips as to how to overcome PMS in a healthy way. So in my last video, you will have heard me say, what if your PMS was not just your hormones, right? What if your PMS was actually there for a reason? And what if it was there to tell you where your boundaries have been crossed or what is not working in your life that needs to be changed? Now, if you think about your PMS, it's in your week 3 of your cycle, right? We have 4 weeks in our cycle on average as women. We have in a spring, the first week, in a summer, the second week, in an autumn, the third week, which is the period of your PMS. And then we have our winter, our menstrual bleed. Now, PMS is in the season of autumn, which means that it's a season of release and letting go. So it's no coincidence that all of a sudden things start to bother you and you want to get irritable and you want to make changes in your life at this point in your cycle. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really healthy, and it's a beautiful thing about being a woman. But the way that we make those changes is the thing that makes it healthy or not. Now, if we are going off screaming at everyone and becoming violent or abusive during this time, then of course, we don't want to do that. We don't want to cause harm for ourselves or for anyone else. But if the essence of what you were getting frustrated about is addressed in a different way, in an empowered way, in an assertive way, in a way that is kind for everybody, then that's good. Because we need to assert boundaries in our lives. We need to make changes when things aren't working. And so my invitation for you with your PMS is to reframe it a little bit. Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, it's horrible. We feel dysregulated. We get bad skin. We feel bloated. We don't feel comfortable in our bodies, and then suddenly we find issues in relationships or situations that weren't there before, right? So taking some time to really reflect is so important during this point in your cycle, to really feel into the truth of what you're feeling. So that's the first thing that I'd like you to understand, is that your PMS is not just your hormones, and you don't need to gaslight yourself or let anyone else gaslight you into thinking that your viewpoint is invalid at this time. Yes, it might be magnified and intensified, but the essence of what it is that you're saying is not invalid, okay? Now, the second thing is tools to deal with the energy in your body. Now, the tension, the stress that's in your body, it needs to move, it needs to release. Don't try and hold it in or overdo and overthink things. Instead, if you're feeling activated, if you're feeling angry, I suggest that you move into your body in some kind of way. Now, one of my favorite tools is through somatic emotional release. We have lots of these practices in the Rise Wild community. If you're interested in joining us there, you can click the link in my channel page. And the energy of your frustration, the energy of your emotion gets to be released through breath, through movement, through sound, so that you can express it in a healthy way. You don't need to express it to someone or project it onto someone or cause problems in your relationship. Instead, you go and look after yourself and do your practices. Now, if you don't have access to somatic tools or you're not sure what that is, you can either join us or you can decide to move into your body in a different way. I love cardio. In fact, after this video, I'm just about to go to the gym and do some cardio myself because I'm in my inner autumn right now and I'm feeling some stress in my body. Now, this shedding, this sweating, this purging that happens in our bodies when we're working out is really releasing for our stress, and it actually lowers our cortisol and adrenaline and makes us feel more balanced, and it regulates our nervous system. So exercise is really important. Try to avoid situations or environments where you might get what I call comparativitis. Try and say that one, it's like a tongue twister. So where you feel that you might compare yourself to someone else, it's probably not a time in your cycle to try anything new like a fancy dance class or something you've never done before. Instead, stick to something that makes you feel good and you release, and you can just be in your own zone, your own lane, right? Now, another thing to do is journaling. Or holding off on making big decisions. It might be that you suddenly get clarity on something. You're like, this needs to go, this needs to end. Okay, great, you've got clarity, but take some time to reflect. And there's a saying that goes in womb healing world that if you have a decision to make, rather than sleeping on it, that is a common saying, bleed on it. So if you have an insight come up and it's a big decision, and it's quite something, I suggest that you bleed on it. So wait until after your bleed, when you are feeling more clear, when you're rising up into your inner spring that week after your period, because you're so much more clear-headed and balanced to be able to communicate things in a loving way. And you can avoid making mistakes or making decisions that you might regret later. Okay, so we've got these 3 different ideas. The idea that PMS itself, the insights that come, it's not just your hormones, it's not something to stop, it's actually valuable wisdom coming forwards that needs to be listened to. And we've got moving the energy through the body, so releasing the energy through the body. This is really important. And the third thing was to make sure that you wait before you make decisions, journal, wait until after your bleed, just reflect a little bit. And you can actually write down what it is that you're letting go of with your blood. This is called blood magic. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can leave me a comment and I'm happy to do a separate video on it. But the idea is that you let go of something consciously with your period. So your mundane cycle can turn into something quite magical and intentional when we work with it in this way, when we decide what it is that we're releasing. So yes, I hope that this was helpful for you today. If you're curious and want to learn more, and you're a woman who has her own business or is an entrepreneur, you might be interested in joining us in the Rise Wild community. You can click the link in my bio to learn more. And yeah, let me know what other hints and tips you would like to learn about womb wisdom and feminine leadership. See you soon.